Welcome to Eclipse Yourself. In this video we are going to dive into the Readiness Eclipse in a bit more detail. So you can see when I've loaded up the app, it's looked at my activity, recovery and readiness, and actually my readiness is out of balance at the moment, as it's also reflected in the gauge with the white needle. You can see it's quite to the left. So there's two ways I can dive into the recovery data in a bit more detail. I can either tap on the readiness gauge to drill in, or I can also tap on the readiness sunrise or lack of sun in this view to go in. So that's going to open the readiness details page. So I've got 6 months of readiness data across the screen here. For each of these is 1 day's readiness rating that goes through. So if you can see here, wherever I put the scroll at, I'm going to put it here. I get 3 metrics which either work positive or negative to my overall rating. My overall rating is this white readiness line that goes up and down. So when it's above par, that's a positive overall rating for me, and when I'm down below, that's when my eclipse is out of balance. So you'll see if I pick one where I'm below par, my readiness rating with my eclipse is also out of balance on that day. So for each of the days on the today screen, you will get a sunrise, a readiness sunrise we call it. So the higher the sun in the sky, the better your readiness. So you'll see if I work across some days here, there might be a really good one that comes up. That was a good one there, where my sun's high up in the sky, and each of these parts here. So you can see my HRV in this case was exceptionally well, which has resulted in a really good readiness rating for me. So the metrics we're using, BPM is my waking pulse, which is recorded when my sleep session and my awake is stamped. My HRV, you have a choice of using sleeping average HRV, or you can also use waking heart rate variability. I'll show you how to do that in the configuration. For people lucky enough with a newer watch, you can use the wrist temperature, which will also come through. So with readiness, we can also apply 7-day trends. So this is great for looking at more longer term change. If you've been maybe you've been meditating before bed, or you've been trying to change some things in your behavior with improving sort of heart rate variability, or you might have some symptoms with illness coming through, and this might be reflective in waking pulse and also temperature and things. So this 7-day trend puts a rolling 7-day average on each of those metrics that go through, and you can see periods of where I've had really good readiness, and then there might be periods with my readiness being quite low. Or I can switch back to the day-to-day view. Each of the metrics here, we can actually single them out. So you can see like last night, my waking pulse was quite high, so I might just want to tap on that to filter out only the waking pulses, and I want to look at a 7-day trend. I can see that my waking pulse has actually been okay with 7-day trend. It was just sort of last night where my morning sleep, where it's been quite low, but otherwise that's been looking quite good. I can also just tap on that to turn it off, and similar with things like HRV that goes through if I just want to filter that one out. You can always swipe up the screen to read a little bit more around what readiness is. If you want even more detail on each day, I can click on the Learn More. That's going to break down each of those areas and show me what was up and what was down and reasons for that. So that's readiness. I'm going to go back just to the options tab and show you some of the configuration options for readiness. I've got activity, recovery, and readiness options. So the two main options you have here is you can have a choice of using, for the HRV, you can use sleeping HRV, or you may like to use waking HRV. Normal sensitivity is for the wrist temperature. Everyone's obviously unique, and some people have higher sensitivity in terms of temperature. So we've allowed a configuration option there to either have normal or high. And that is readiness in detail.